Okay, so already we have discussed unit first. Okay, but in the unit first there are some topics. Okay, one of the topic which is what are the factors which influence the toxicity. Okay, so it would be your very general things I have already covered, but today I will give a specific lecture on that, how the toxicity is going to be affected the different people. Okay, so it would be include your today what is the scope of that. Okay, scope we know already what is the scope of food toxicology. Food toxicology. So this scope we have already learned that it can be applied in the food science, it can be applied in medical science, and it can be applied in other fields also. Then we have already learned what are the general principles of the food toxicology, then factors affecting the food for food toxicology, then microbial toxin and food poisoning. Now, food toxicology involves the detection of the toxic substance in the food, characterization of their property, studying their fate in the body, and absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion of the investigations their adverse effect. So, you can consider here some of the keywords, like for example, it tells about studying their fate in the absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. So, these are the three important terms whenever you are going to inhale by air, whenever you are going to intake any chemical, or last but not least how its absorption is there in your body. So, many substances are there through which our body is not found, our body found their substance as a foreign substance, and when our body is not able to recognize it, it sometimes lead to the food allergy, because IgE of our body, okay, there are IgE immunoglobulin of the body, it lead to the food allergy, it lead to food toxicity also, and it also lead to you sometimes food sensitivity. There are certain examples, for example lactose intolerance are there. So, there are certain factors affecting with this, but you have to understand whenever we are taking a toxic substance, it can be associated with the absorption, distribution, and metabolism of our body. Toxic substance can be naturally present, okay, that can be naturally present in our food. For example, mycotoxin is there, aflatoxin is there. So, these are the some fungus which can be come under our food. For example, if mycotoxin is there or aflatoxin is there, then there are certain bacteria like which are able to release that. Example, Clostridium botulinum is there, that is also one of the natural thing, and botulinum is one of the toxic which can be produced by them. So, food is cooked, added directly to the food, or they can find their way in the food from the immediate environment such as packaging. Okay. This has been driven by an increased awareness and effect of the foodborne illness. So, foodborne illness is one of the separate unit which we have already known, and as well as the rapid availability of the information of the consumer. So, how it can be prohibited? It can be prohibited with the help of the certain awareness campaigns like your good hygiene practice, like your OPRPs, operational prerequisite programs during the processing, like there are HACCP programs, like there are FSMS programs. So, these are all the programs which can be conducted to avoid or to minimize the risk. Now, scope of the food toxicology differ from branches to branches, so that is not much important. So, scope you can see it is in the field of the biomedical, then mechanism of the actions, effect of the exposure that already we have learned, and a public health is also one of the thing, and recognition and identification of the hazard and development of the use of the pesticide. So, all these we have learned already. Now, scope, there are some other scopes which are related with it. First is the environment, because environment is the only thing through which the mycotoxin, aflatoxin, and certain other molds, fungus, bacteria, or like botulinum. So, these all can be coming from the environment only. Then there is a molecular toxicologist that is relevant with the study of the mechanism by which the toxicant modulates the cell growth and differentiation of the cell respond to the toxicants. Then third is our clinical toxicologist that develop the antidote and the treatment of the resin to ameliorate the poisoning and the xenobiotic injury. So, whenever the xenobiotic injury is there, that is related with the clinical toxicology. Now what is the general principle? General principle says that a descriptive toxicology performs the toxicity of the test and obtain the information that can be used to evaluate the risk of the exposure of the chemical for the human beings and the environment. So this is more related with the environment, this is more related with the things whenever we are going to consume it. Now coming to the food toxicology, emphasizes the toxicants or the toxin found in the food, where is the nutritional toxicology. Okay, targets the intermediates that toxicants can have with the nutrients in the diet and effect. So in the unit 3 we know that there is a one topic which is known as your nutritional toxicity. So nutrition toxicity can be happen because of the three reasons. It can be because of the three reasons. It can be because of the deficiency when it is adequate, and these are the two things where the body is going into the abnormal conditions. Okay. Third is when it is in the normal range. For example, if we will take the iron, okay, if there is a deficiency of the iron, which is your male and female, for female it is 11, for male it is 12 milligram per dl. When it is going from a particular range, then it means our body is not going to be in the homeostatic condition. When your body is not in your homeostatic condition, it means you are suffering from a certain diseases or certain problem. So whenever the nutritional should be in the range or appropriate range, then it would be a good for your body also. Now what is the dose response curve? Let's try to understand what is the fundamental concept of the toxicology and the dose determine the poise. So this is the dose response curve. Okay, so there are three things which you can find out. This is your effective dose, that is also known as your effective dose. This is your threshold dose, and this is your guess what, LD50 or lethal dose curve. Okay, so these are the doses which you can find out, and this is the threshold point. It is also known as your NOEL, no observed effect level. Okay, so this is the first point where the dose is going to be curved, and this is the final point where the 50% of the population is affected. Okay, so here you can find 3 points. Okay, so those 3 points can be defined on the basis of the TED, TD and LD. So you can study further it in the more in the chapter number 3 also. Now manifestation of the toxicants. So what is the manifestations of the toxicants? It can be your necrosis tissues or lethal synthesis of the toxicants, incorporation and the biochemical pathway, lipid peroxidations and free radical oxidants, and fatty acid leads to the cellular injury. So it's a very simple thing that the lipid oxidations and the auto oxidations cannot be there, and it can lead to certain consequences in our body. Now what are the physiological actions of the toxin in our body? It lead to stress, it lead to certain species traits, then high throw output to the vitro toxicity and the toxicants, then quantitative adverse outcomes of the pathway. So it can lead multi-dimensional problem. Okay, it will lead the stress ecology, that is one of the problem, then quantitative problems. Okay, then your high throughput in the vitro problems. Now factor affecting the toxicity of the compounds. So these are the certain things which can be affected the toxicity. So these are very simple things you can understand in a very normal way, like forms of intimate of the chemical, in which form you are taking that chemical, whether it is present in the its native form, whether it is present in its derivative forms. So you have to find out in which state you are taking. Okay, so if it is inoculum which is pure, then its effectiveness is very high. Then dosage, especially the dose time relationship. So as you know, as the dose amount is decreased, okay, it means the effectiveness of the dose is higher. Then exposure route, it can be of three ways. It can be through your food, through respiratory system, or third, last but not least, through your absorption in the body. And it varies from species to species. Then it varies from gender to gender, male to female, it varies. Then ability to absorb means how your body is going to react after getting into your stomach. So that is also one of the very important aspect of the factors affecting the toxicology of the compounds or the food. Then these are certain other factors, like what is the metabolism of that person. So metabolism of the person, metabolism plus catabolism, anabolism. So whenever your metabolism is going to be very, there are chances that other factors of your body are also going to influence. Then distribution within the body, how the distribution of these particular things are going to influence in your body. Then excretion, nutritional status, okay, present and other chemicals, cardiac or rhythms, whether the diseases are already there in your body or not. Now first of all, forms of intake of the chemical activity. The form of the substance may have profound impact on its toxicity, especially for the metallic elements, and they term the heavy metals. For example, the toxicity of the mercury differ greatly from the methyl mercury. Okay, so they are trying to say whenever the mercury, okay, there is a mercury, and this is a heavy metal and it causes certain diseases. For example, Mini-Meta disease, it's a particular disease which happened in the Japan. Okay, so it happened because of the methyl mercury. Okay, so it happens because of the methyl mercury. And how methyl mercury is going to form? Whenever the mercury is present in the aquatic sources, what happens? The carbon percentage is very high in the aquatic sources, and when these aquatic sources methyl carbon is going to be converted into the methyl, and it is then easily blended with the mercury. So this methyl mercury can be formed, and there are chances that other compounds can already formed. So it varies from the different form, the same toxic. The dosage is the most important criteria for it. So there are acute toxicity and there are chronic toxicity effect. So these are the two examples of ethanol and arsenic. So you can understand that acute is for the shorter period of the time, less than 90 days, and whenever it is greater than 90 days, it comes under the category of the chronicle. For example, carcinogenicity, cancer, and there is one example of the liver cryosis and skin liver cancer. So these are all the long term problems, and these are all the short term problems. So from the ethanol and arsenic they have given. Arsenic generally found in the water, particularly in the region of the Bengal, Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, few region. Okay. So in the groundwater itself arsenic can be found, and it can lead to the gastrointestinal damage, means there is a damage in your intestine, and that will lead to the reduce the absorption of the nutrient in your food, or that will further degraded the immunity of your body. Now exposure route. So I already told you there are 2-3 ways through which these exposures can be happen in your body. Okay. That can be lead to the inhalation whenever, for example, if some pollutants are there. For example, there is a lead which comes from the fossil fuels. Okay, lead, mercury, sulfur dioxides, nitrogen oxides, NOx, SOx. Okay, so these compounds are prevalent in the air, and you know the air quality index of the one of the our capital city Delhi is also going to be reduced, going to be on a higher side. So when the air quality is degraded, what will happen? These compounds can be inhaled through our through the air, and it can lead to the problem in our blood circulation and cause other chronic and the acute diseases. Second is ingestion of the chemical. So this ingestion is directly going in our body, and there is a one phenomenon where the liver is there. It helps to detoxification, but although it is not able to detoxify these things because of the high quantity or the effective quantity of the things. So these are the routes you can find out, like this is the route whenever you are going to inhale and it goes to your lungs. Through the lungs further it will circulate in your body by the blood. Okay. Second is it is going to your food, and further it is going into your gastrointestinal system, and it will degrade your GI tract. Now on the species, how it is going to be affected. Toxic response can vary from substantially depending on the species. Most of the differences between acutable from the differentiation in the metabolism. Then life stage, at what stage you are, whether you are infant, whether you are in the middle age, whether you are at a higher side of the 50s or you are at the 60s or 80s. So it depending on the metabolism of your body, life stage of your body. For example, you can see in the COVID cases also, it is also going to be vary with the life stages of the human. Okay, if the person is young, then there are chances of the recovery is higher. If a person is not young, then the chances are very less. So these are the things, and this is one of the example which is here mentioned of the nitrosamine are more carcinogenic and newborn to the young animals. So that is one of the example. Now coming to the metabolism. So metabolism also known as your biotransformation, and it is the conversion of the chemicals from one form to another by the biological organism. Metabolism is a major factor in determining the toxicity. The product of the metabolism are known as metabolites, and these are of two types. First is your detoxification and second is your bioactivation. So detoxification is done by liver in our body particularly. It has certain enzymes which helps to reduce the toxicity effect. Bioactivation means whenever you have taken a bioactive compound, okay, when those compounds are leading to reduce the chronic diseases or acute diseases in our body, and they have a certain functions and they will act as a bioactive in our body, that is known as your bioactivations. Then the next factor is your distribution within the body, how this particular toxin is going to be distributed in our body. Okay, so it can be distributed via blood, it can be distributed via other sources like serum, like plasma. So the distribution of the toxicants and the toxic metabolites throughout the body ultimately determine the sites where the toxicity occur. Okay, the major determinant whether the toxicants will damage the cell is its lipid solubility. Okay, so what does it mean? You know that toxins sometimes can be absorbed in our body. They can be retained in our body for the longer period of the time. How they can retain in our body for the longer period of the time? It is just a fact that fat can be easily soluble and mixed with the toxic substance. For example, the kidney is there, nearby the kidney there is a high amount of the fat, and these fats can easily absorb and stuck these toxic substances, and they can be inherited in our body for the longer period of time. Longer the period of the time, longer the exposure within our body, and longer and chances are that there may be the chronic diseases in our body. Then nutritional status, whether what conditions the human body it is. If they are in malnutrition condition, if they are in an obese condition, that we have to think about it. Diet nutritional status can be a major factor in determining what does or not develop the toxicity. Example is there that consumption of the fish have the absorbed mercury from the contaminants. Water can result in the mercury toxicity, and antagonistic mercury toxicity is the nutritional selenium. Okay, so this is nutritional selenium toxicity and the methyl mercury examples they are quoting. Then presence of the other chemicals. What are the other chemicals which are present? Those are also going to be influenced. Okay, so the presence of the other chemicals, like you decrease the toxicity if it's an antagonism. Antagonism means plus. Antagonism means whenever the two substances are going to be mixed, they will neutralize. Means 2 plus 2 can be your 3. Okay, then adding of the toxicity. This is additive toxicity. Then increase in the toxicity is a synergistic effect. In the synergistic effect, 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. Okay. So it is a status of the body that it can be of two kinds. It can be your antagonistic type. It can be your synergistic type, depending on the chemicals, depending on the what kind of the chemicals are going to be there. Now toxicants and allergens in the food form and the plants. So these are the certain examples which are quoted, like for example, amount of the distribution of the toxicants present vary according to the species, geographical conditions, and poisoning reported when the wild species of the mushrooms are there. So these are all the things which you have to consider. So they have given the example of the mushroom, which is a wild mushroom, and how the wild mushroom is going to be affected the geographical conditions and the species which are varying. For example, if it is somebody is in the savanna or somebody is in the other forest, then it will influence the toxicity. Okay, microbial toxicants. So microbial toxicants we will learn further in the lectures, but for the now you have to just understand microbial toxicants produced by the microorganisms, including the bacteria, virus, and fungi. Okay, in the bacteria, these can be your Clostridium botulinum, these can be your Shigellosis, these can be your Listeriosis. So all those things are there. In the virus, they can be your rotavirus, hepatitis. In the fungi, they can be your mycotoxin, they can be your aflatoxin. So all those things are there, which includes with the microorganism, and they can be your in the form of the peptide proteins that are capable of causing the disease and absorption within the body's tissues, and they can interact with the cellular activities of your body. Now, what are the kinds and the classifications? Let's try to understand what is the, like these are certain kinds in the classification. Clostridium tenti is there, and they can be your exotoxin, which is outside. They can be your endotoxin, which are the part of the bacteria itself. Okay. So generally the bacteria active and the secreted these things. So exo means the name is suggesting from the outside. Endo means within the system they release the bacteria and kill the immunity system. Now we will learn these things in the foodborne disease separately, FBD. There is a one topic in the unit first itself where you can learn these things. What are the exotoxin in detail, endotoxin is there. Okay, what are the gram positive, what are these things. Now these are the certain other things which are associated with your food toxicology, which you already studied in the last semester. Okay. So organism like almost all the gram positive are there and all the gram negatives considered to be the endotoxin. So exotoxins are mostly the gram positive one, and endotoxin can be mostly the gram negative one. They are the part of the pathological cell wall released whenever dies. They are the lipopolysaccharides molecules. Okay, they are polypeptide chains. They are unstable are there most of the time, but endotoxin are most stable because they are within the body itself, within the virus itself. So they are more stable. But when they have to take from certain outside, that's why the gram positive is not that much dangerous as comparatively to the gram negative bacteria. These are the highly specific and several types. These are not non-specific types. Now in the food poisoning itself, this is one of the definition of the food poisoning is an illness that caused by eating the contaminated food. It is not usually a serious and most of the people get better within the few days. In most of the cases of the food poisoning, the contaminated by the bacteria such as Salmonella, E. coli and virus are there, and the norovirus is one of them. So we will discuss the food poisoning in the foodborne disease itself. So this is the way or the method through which you can prevent the food poisoning at your home or at the stage whenever it is going to be happen. So you have to wash your hand with the sanitizer, you have to wash your hand with the help of the certain hygienic practice. So whenever you are keeping the food, you have to keep at the hot, and whatever the utensils you are going to use, you have to clean that. Then you have to keep your food in the freezing temperature. So these are all the practice which you can practice at the home to reduce it. Okay class, thank you so much. All the concepts we will study, elaborate in the subsequent chapters and subsequent topics. Thank you so much.